AskRaven for the wise one listens and answers with song. From cedar shadows where old truths belong, I circle the tides where memories keep, over blackened waters that never sleep. Come closer, wanderer, lean and hear, for tonight the narrows draw you near. Seymour Narrows, a titan throat, the sea must pass, drag a boat, a place where tides grow sharp and thin, where whirlpools spin their hungry grin. The father spoke of Ripple Rock, a reef that made the bravest bulk. They blew it up with thunder's might, but still the channel bites at night. Its currents twist like serpent's breath, its races mimic tales of death. Through this place the mistjoy swept, a saner mold where shadows kept, a whispered curse from previous wrecks. 2 rollings past, her battered decks still bore the scars of ocean's hand when she once more returned to land. But storms remember, seas keep score, and a mistjoy rolled twice before. The third fate waited in the deep. The sea had debts it meant to keep. The rolling of mistjoy, it happened fast, a warning cry, a sudden tilt against the sky. A whirlpool rose like coiling rope and stripped the vessel of her hope. She heeled, she groaned, she spun aside and flipped beneath the racing tide. Inside the galley lights went black. Cold seawater attacked the stack. The cook was thrown with brutal force, dragged downward on the flooding course. The rolling hull became her cave, an iron vault, a drifting grave. Her corridors where shadows cling, she plunged into the engine's ring. An air pocket, her final claim, flickered like a candle flame. She braced herself against the steel, felt the ocean's hungry wheel, drag vessel, rope, and rigging down beneath the narrows' savage crown. Upside down, the mistjoy flew, choked by currents, lost from view. A prison racing through the night, a place where hope had little light. Despair in the engine room, oil slicks floated, cables hissed, metal groaned, where shadows kissed. The air grew thin, the world grew tight, her breath a trembling, fading light. She knew no map, no path, no way, only the roar of breaking day. Somewhere above her hopeless plight, far past the churn of blackened night, and as the vessel plunged once more, she felt the sea behind each door, pressure rising, cold and sly, whispering, "This is where you die." But then a tremor stirred the gloom, a ripple through her watery tomb. A figure rose through oil and foam, as through the depths and sent him home. The diver appears, he burst within her shrinking air, a phantom shaped by courage rare. A helmet gleamed, a lampart glowed, a lifeline through the current flowed. He braved the rigging's knotted jaws, the seine net drifting like a claw, the jagged teeth of shattered gear. Yet through it all he ventured here. He placed a breathing gift between her trembling lips, her shock unseen. Air rushed in her starving lungs, then the sweetest breath since life begun. He gripped her hand with iron will and pulled her past the engine spill, past hanging lines that sought to snare, past drowning dark and cold despair. Through swirling tides that clawed for more, he kicked toward freedom's distant shore. The ascent, upward they surged through violent sweep, where currents writhed in deadly keep. The world around them pitched and spun, as narrows dragged the dying sun into its deep consuming race, yet still they fought for surface grace. The sea relented for a breath, they broke into the living's depth. Wind battered them, the waves struck wild, yet now she breathed, no longer child of iron tomb or drifting grave, a single soul, a diver saved. Above the helicopter's roar, cut through the tempest's hungry score, a cable drop, basket swung, her fate now held by human love. They lifted her into the night, a fragile spark, returning light. The Mistjoy sank to Narrows Keep, where all her other souls would sleep. Aftermath, the vessel later rose once more, rebuilt, repaired, restored to shore. A relative mind would guide her weathered hull. Through gentler tide, a man of honor, strong and wise, the kind the coastline learns to prize. But some boats hold their histories tight, and some bear echoes of the night. The Mistjoy's tale, carved deep in spray, remains a ghost along the way. I went through Seymour's shifting gate, where boats meet time, and time meets fate. Still the whispers drifted sigh. She rolled twice, once, the third time why? A pattern old, a seabird's cry. 3 times she fell, 3 times she tried, and only once let one survive. 3rd time lucky, the others say, one spared to walk another day. If this tale stirred the tide within you, wanderer, then throw us a line at ghostboatadventures@gmail.com and share the stories your own shadows keep. If you wish this raven's wings to fly farther along the coast, like the tale, share the tale, and subscribe, so more ears may hear the story. And should you choose to help keep the ghost boat afloat, you may toss a coin in the treasure chest, a spark of light that guides our flight through fog and night. Now listen close, for the wings fold, the story returns to shadow. What you forget, Raven remembers through fire